first of all, as you can see, I'm not from here. I'm from Argentina. I made the way all the way along to here to tell you about how to move from from BI to big data. As you may know, it seems to be very easy to move from BI to big data because everyone is doing big data. Who is working with big data in the audience today? 1, 2. Okay, it seems not to be that easy then. Okay, let's do some rewind. We have been listening all day long about digital transformation, about new information, how to capture information, about how to use web logs, how to use social media. Talent people was talking about how to make better recommendations. We can recognize the world is changing. When I first began to work with data warehousing, our batch process was monthly. Next to that, years later, our process went from monthly to weekly, then to daily, then to intradaily. Now, if I don't deliver on time, they're calling me and asking me why. Where's my information? What's happening right now? Who's in the website? Who's in the log? Who's enrolled in the scale? What's happening? The information structure and volume is also changing. You don't receive the same information you received years ago, let's say 10 years ago. Who worked with data warehousing 10 years ago from here? Okay, more than the ones that working with big data. Data warehouse, it relies mostly on structured information that comes from our transactional systems and moves to a data warehouse, and someone someday will analyze that. It's not that easy anymore. The sources, the data sources, are not structured anymore. And the speed is becoming a critical variable. Once, when I was working in a bank, someone told me, oh, if everything is changing, why don't we adopt big data? We need to have big data. So he thought that big data was like this. Any one of you believe that adopting big data is like this? I think so. Big data is more like this. Some bunch of people trying to collect all data all day long, a big amount of data. So from BI to big data, we found that it's not that easy, and there is a gap. To move from BI, traditionally reporting some analytic, some R scripting, or whatever you use, it's not the same as adopting big data as a new paradigm. Capture information online, capture high amount of information, analyze billions of records every second. It's another way of seeing the information. And where is the gap standing up? Well, why there is a gap? Because there are certain things that fall into the gap that you cannot push the button as I showed you before, and they say, okay, I got it, that's it, I'm done. You have to say, okay, can I use the same people? Can I do the same projects? Okay, projects fall into the gap. This is not the same to do a BI project than a big data project. You have to set the objectives. Once you have the objectives, you know if you need or not big data. What else? Infrastructure. I used to work with SQL Server. Mostly, I hope most of you know that. Does anyone doesn't know SQL Server? Okay, better. Okay, I used to use SQL Server. Now I'm using Hive, Impala, so a bunch of tools you have seen at the expo today. It's not the same. It doesn't require the same infrastructure. It works differently. It works on the cloud, it works on premise. You need to know how to work. Resources, I think the most important part. I've been a data warehouse architect, I've been a BI analyst, I've been a data scientist also. It's the same to be a big data developer? No. But, okay, I had this problem in the bank, and that, anyone works for Oracle here? No, great. I can use the example then. Oracle has a tool named real-time decisioning. Real-time decisioning, it's you ask the application a question, and it delivers immediately the best next offer to the customer. OK, so my boss told me, OK, we need that, and we need big data. I told him, oh, OK, go slow. We don't have $2 million to invest in it. So we had to do something. We have to think outside the box. OK, if you have to take away something from this stock, take this one. You cannot solve the problem, a data problem, using the same information you used to discover this. OK, it's a bit complicated to understand, but you have to find new sources of information and some ways to solve it. In the end, thinking about the outside the box told us to use the real time. This $2 billion was about $10 and a box of cigarettes, and that's it. Because we had the tools, the SQL Server worked perfectly, and we have the web infrastructure to design a solution on our own. So the case doesn't justify the tool. Don't go to the tool before the case. We are use case based. If you have to adopt big data, you have to think of it as a tool. Another thing I learned, you have to build blocks. Many of the vendors that are from the dark outside, or many are inside here, I'm sorry about that, they tell you have to buy this and that and this solution, and I will do everything for you. OK, not that fast. You can build blocks. Anyone played with Lego? Yeah, it does exist in Sweden? OK, great. Lego are building blocks. You have to think big data adoption as a building block. You have to put one block over the other until you have the complete solution. So you found a case, you design the infrastructure you need for that case, and once you have it, you can start building on top of this one the next solution you need. Big data has one property. It grows horizontally. Instead of growing vertically, as many databases you know, if you use big data, if you add another server, another rack, another whatever, next to your big data solution, it will duplicate the processing memory and speed and whatever. Not speed, not. Processing time and storage, yeah. So this solution grows horizontally. That's great, because you don't have to buy all at the same time. You can learn from what you've done and make it better next time. It's cyclical, as the previous speaker, I can't find him, told. You have to cycle, iterate each time to make a better solution, but you don't have to throw everything away and buy a new one. Another thing I learned on my bank experience, big data has to be a process. What does a process mean? What does it mean to build as a process? You have to create a big data lab or whatever you want to name it, because you have to adopt this in a way you can repeat your experience and learn from what you've done. Just like Agile methodology. You know Agile methodology? That you have iteration, you have waves. More like this. You have to know what you've done and create processes to innovate and to try. Don't be afraid to try. You build a prototype and you see if it works. It's very, very, very easy today with the cloud tools to build a prototype. You build a prototype and see if it works. You check. If it works, go on, productize that, make it work, and once you have this, check for another challenge you can build on top of this. But you have to be methodological. It's correct the word? You must have a methodology. You have to research the way you have to. Okay, I tried this. Didn't work. I tried that. Did work. Okay, on top of this, what will I do? But iteratively. I'm making my point clear? Well. Another important point, and there are many recruiters between us today. I have the opportunity to talk to them. Leverage internal talent. What happened to me in Argentina when I first tried to work with big data? my boss automatically told, okay, let's hire someone. That's a great idea on one side. On the other side, could be a big problem to the people who wants to make a career with you, who wants to grow, who wants to make better things. It's a great opportunity to leverage internal talent. Maybe the person is sitting next to you wants to learn some of these technologies, wants to do something new, something great, and you don't give him the possibility because you think, oh, it's easier to hire someone. It's never easier. And you know what? The most loyal people is the one that is already with you. If you invest in your people, they will invest in you. I think the most difficult part to adopt a big data strategy, to move from BI, that as we know, to big data, is to adapt the organization. Any of you is a chief data officer? No. BI analyst. Let's move from the beginning. How many of you work as a BI analyst or head of BI? Many of you. Okay. Do you have in your organization a chief data officer? One. How many has a data engineer? One? You? No, no, no. No one. How many have an Hadoop admin? No. Okay, you can see there are new roles that are developed inside the organizations. There are new vacancies that have to be filled up because there are new responsibilities that come with big data. And a big problem is that the organizations don't adapt to it. If you don't adapt to the environment, you won't be able to react to the environment. So you have to make yourself sure you want to adopt it. And once you're sure, adapt your organization to it. So everyone follows the same path, and you are in the right path. So summing up, because I know you are tired, you have been listening about data all day long, let's have a few takeaways. First of all, you have to find the right data. Big data, to adopt big data, is a use case-based scenario. What does it mean? You have scenario, you have to build your use case, and find the right data for that. Usually it's not inside your data warehouse. That's a tip I had. Usually you have to find unstructured data sets. You have to stream data information to the big data. You have to do whatever you are not doing right now. The integration services, as you know right now, are not all capable to work with this and capture the correct data you need. Second takeaway, it's empower your people. Leverage your people. People inside your organization, it's more capable than you think to make new things. Just give them the challenge and give them the opportunity to evolve. Third, don't be afraid of failure. Big data borns with agile. It's the same idea. You fail fast and fail cheap. If you build your prototype and you are not afraid to fail, you will try much more stuff. You will try new things. You will try crazy ideas you may have. And many of them may succeed. And that's great, because you already done it. And finally, but not less important, recognize big data as a process, not an end. Big data will not kill your BI structure as you know it. It will help your structure to evolve. You adopt big data as a process. You find a use case, you build, you go out, you move on. But you make the best of both worlds for each solution. As I told you, when we have to buy the real-time decision system, we evolved our SQL database to be at the top of its capabilities, but it worked. We didn't need to adopt a new solution. We analyzed the use case, and they said, okay, this is not part of big data project. There are other processes that needed to be hosted on a big data platform, but it's a process. You go step by step, block by block, and you build your Lego at the end. I think that's it. If you have any more questions, I think I have like 3 minutes to answer them.